Laura's logs. Supplemental. Earth date 1002-2011. Approximately 1400 hours. Subject, Second Life.
This is the intro to Pim's Daily Pods, Pim's Daily Leaps.
Enjoy.
So, Laura wants to do this vlog about Second Life. I figured you know a lot about Second Life, and she wants to know a little bit about it. But like an anthropological perspective, not like stuff like this guy made $1 million using Second Life. More like what's like to be in the game, what people do, things like that. Would you be willing to talk to her? Jolly good. Here she is.
Can we do speakerphone at all?
Speakerphone.
Because then I can record it.
All right, 1 second.
You're calling his brother.
All right, so can you hear me, Michael? Mike, can you hear? Yes, you can hear. Jolly good, hang on. Can't quite, hang on. So let's see if I can,
Raise the volume, maybe.
here, let's see. Could you talk a little bit louder?
Me?
Jolly good, is that better?
Yes.
Huh? What?
All right, cool. Can you hear us still?
Yeah?
Cool.
Awesome. So, hi, Mike.
Hi.
Hi. How do you view Second Life? Just in a generic sense, first of all.
Second Life is currently the closest thing to William Gibson's view of cyberspace.
And what was William Gibson's view of cyberspace?
A central point where people can interact with one another in a three-dimensional environment, representing data.
Cool.
So kind of like neuromancy.
Again, that's not 100% accurate as to what it is. It really is just a Second Life.
So when you say a Second Life, do you mean like regular things like a classic Sims game? Do you mean like classic things like a Sims game, like you can build a house and get a job and all that kind of stuff, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fairly open-ended as to what you can do there.
Okay. Let's see.
For instance, when I was playing, did a lot of modeling and coding.
What kind of coding?
I made objects do weird things. It was something to do.
That's cool. So it was more of like a hobby thing versus like, I don't know, World of Warcraft that kind of takes over your life.
Well, for me at least.
Okay.
And eventually I kind of got away from it. I kind of figured, perhaps I should focus on getting a first life before dealing too much with Second Life.
So how is Second Life different from games like The Sims?
Well, it's definitely more open-ended.
How do you mean?
You are given a lot more freedom in what you can do.
Give some examples.
Well, for instance, as I said, I do a lot of coding. That's mainly what I dealt with. You can, instead of dealing with pre-made structures, you could start building whatever you wanted from primitives. And then from each primitive, you could put a line of code in, or pretty much as much code as you wanted in, so that each little bit of the object does exactly what you want.
Oh, so instead of having preset options for an object, you can basically make your own versions of what it can do. So when you were on Second Life, were you mostly just playing by yourself with your own things, or did you go out into like the social forums and talk with a bunch of other users?
easily sociable person, so I mainly stuck to myself and did coding. I found that to be more fun than the sociable thing. Like most things dealing with the internet, anonymity bred contemptible behavior.
How do you mean?
Some people were jerks on Second Life. There's little actual law to Second Life. Much like the rest of the internet. And according to most cyber sociology, this lack of internet law creates the opportunity for people to behave in a more mischievous way. This is why you get a lot of flame wars on.
So rather than the deviants, more than just the deviants, first of all, how many would you think acted deviantly, and what did people act like in general?
Deviance is defined by the culture. Since there's no set rules to the culture, there is no deviance.
Okay, fine. Deviant relative to our culture.
Boy. I'm not really sure. A lot. Definitely.
Alright,
Would you
let's say that flying penises are deviant relative to our culture, okay? How many
Okay,
people were
yep.
deviant relative to our culture?
Well, you could find those all over the place. In many areas.
In my media class, we brought up the idea that Second Life could be a skin-free zone, as in people of the same race don't necessarily hang out with each other because anyone can be anything else. And so there's really no set race or anything like that. Do you think that's true with Second Life, or is my teacher just crazy?
Boy.
Well, our teacher's just crazy, but try and answer the question.
Well, for one thing, I believe all people are crazy to varying degrees, so there goes that question.
Alright.
And even if there is no race as per se, you do find certain cliques within Second Life.
So, what kind of cliques are there in Second Life?
Well, there are people who go around all the time as stormtroopers.
That sounds fun.
There's the furries. They have a decent Second Life grouping. There's aliens and robots and all sorts of things.
Okay.
So in a sense, those could be considered races, but at the same time, you can switch between these skins as often as you want.
Oh, okay. So it becomes less of a, like, would it be, like, more defined by your username? Like, if you're known to be a furry and everyone knows your username, then no matter what skin
Even
you're
then,
in?
there's ways that you can hide your username.
Oh, I did not know that. That's intense.
So that would
And
lead
you
to...
can also, I've done weird stuff like program a hat to project something where a username usually is.
Huh. Interesting.
So you can't even really be defined by your username too easily.
Huh. That's cool.
Oh, whoops.
It's okay. Let's see. What else were we talking about in class? Let's see. Do you think, in your opinion, is Second Life more of a social thing or a medium? I know IBM has all of its employees, they have to use Second Life to interact with people in different countries.
Again, I think that it's whatever you want it to be, in most cases. It can be a social thing. You can gather in one virtual space or another. It can be a medium for communication in a business realm. There's even been virtual classrooms where you just enter a lecture in Second Life, and the teacher can respond to questions in a virtual situation.
Do you think more people use it as a social medium or a business medium?
I think more people use it as a social medium.
Interesting.
But I think it has potential for any number of things. At least the last time I visited it, which has been quite a while ago. Unfortunately, they might have made some interesting changes that make what I'm saying not quite accurate.
So I presume your favorite part about Second Life is being able to program and alter your environment.
Yes.
What's your least favorite part?
Stalkers. There was this one person who stalked me for several days. That's why I created a hack to change what my username appeared like.
Wow.
That's creepy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So the avatar would just like follow you around everywhere?
Yep.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's really creepy.
As I said, where there's no cultural rules, there's no deviance.
Okay. Another thing we were talking about in class was your own identity. That do people tend to usually just create an avatar that's basically from them in real life, or do people like continually change? Like guys would go on and be girls, and girls would be guys. Whites would go black, and all that kind of thing.
I really think it depends on the person, on an individual by individual basis.
So what about you?
Me, I was a dragon.
Nice.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Any particular reason for becoming a dragon, or just because it's cool to be a dragon?
Just because.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Awesome.
My friend Lusengya became a stormtrooper.
That's cool. Awesome. Thanks for talking. This will help.
He nearly got an F in his course because of it.
Oh, really? He just
Yeah.
is on Second Life so much?
No, because every single thing he did he was a computer programming person for video game programming.
Yeah.
And just about everything he did was Star Wars related. And the professor said, okay, if you do one more Star Warsy thing, I fail you.
Wow. Interesting.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mike.
No problem.
Alright.
Hope I was helpful.
It was. Thank you.
Toodaloo, sir.
Bye-bye.
And that was your brother about Second Life.
Yep.
And do you know how long ago he was playing Second Life?
I suppose it would be maybe 3-4 years ago? I don't know. I know he was playing it when he was in NJIT, and so that would be maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago.
So was that about when it first came out, or? Do you know?
I do not recall, unfortunately. So that was when it was pretty popular. Not sure about its popularity now. When it was, I don't want to say it when it was a new thing because I don't know when it came out.
Okay. But when its first big wave was happening.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think I was in that same wave. That first wave when Second Life was everywhere, and they're like, "Oh, Second Life, it's so cool." Yeah, I'm gonna have to go do a thing, see what it's like now. A couple years later, see if anything is different. So Second Life, I'm coming back.
And this is the end.